Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lang Shack, as usual. So today, I am going to share just this. This will be a pretty quick little video here. This needs to be refreshed. I just wrote all this stuff here. All right, there we go. So I translated all this stuff yesterday. Like I said, I've been using the Forward Services 2 courses from the Amharic, the national language of Ethiopia, which I'm also slowly studying on and off. But Tuscarora is the main language at the moment in the course. And with that, I went through another unit. So the last unit we went over was about ordering a hotel room. Like, looking for a hotel room, not actually ordering a hotel room. But this dialogue is more like actually ordering a hotel room. The last dialogue that we went over was more like, you're asking someone you're asking someone for directions to get you to a better room, and then someone gives you the name of a good one. You find out where it is. You call a taxi. All that, we did all that in Tuscarora. I just think it's so cool that we can do all this stuff in Tuscarora or in Lenape or in any Native American language. Like, we can book hotel rooms, do groceries. We can do anything that we can do in English in any of these languages. And that's kind of like what my motivation is for this stuff. I really want people to be speaking any languages again. Anyway, so I translated all this. I looked up stuff in Rude Blair's dictionary, and I looked up references in Mittoon's grammar sketch, the only well-known grammar sketch of the Tuscarora language, and I created this dialogue from it. So let's go ahead and go over it. So, hello, do you have an empty room in this hotel? Chuen, so you ha kana sakayong. So we'll go ahead and explain all of this. So you're like thinking like, oh, there's only 4 words, but the last line's got it's an entire sentence with free morphemes, meaning that every single word in this dialogue, do you have an empty room in this hotel? These are all separate words. They're not connected to each other or anything like that. Whereas you might have a compound noun like courthouse, or court and house are put together, or bedroom, where room and bed are put together. They're written as one word, one long word. That's what these languages do all the time. Okay. So this first one here, the first one just means Chuen, just means hello. This, I believe we talked about this in probably the first Tuscarora video, first few Tuscarora videos I ever did. So this means do you have. So yeah. Okay. So yeah means do you have. And this is the verb for to have something. It's also a verb that means it's got a different meaning for something. I cannot remember what that was, but for the purpose of this dialogue, it means to have. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, huh? So huh is a question particle. If you've been following these pages with me and you studied Lenape with me, you will probably be familiar with hetch or hutch. It's the same thing. Or, Japanese ka, or Turkish me or ma. Different languages have different question particles. Or, it'd be like saying right in English sometimes. You have that interrogative particle that you use after the word, but in this you would use it, probably after the most important word. So what's important in this sense is that do you have an empty room in this hotel? Okay. So sunya ha kana sakunya. So this kana sakunya means empty room. Okay. Kunya means empty. The only word for empty that I could find in the Tuscarora dictionary. And a word for room, kane, Kanna-san also means, it can mean a house or a room. More of the time it means a house than a room. But the dictionary states repeatedly that this word also means a room. And it's also used in many examples for room that have that come out with a translation of room. So I just used this one. There is a different word for a room, like a standalone noun for a room, utakone, but that can also mean apartment, floor, but it's a different word. We use that later in this dialogue when we're explicitly using the word for room. But when it comes to empty rooms in hotels are basically apartments. So they can either be a room or they can be a house. So I just decided to use the word kana kunya here for empty room. Yes, I have one. Nawas kunya. Yeah, kunya. Yes, I have one. And if you really wanted to say one, the word for one in this language is anchi. But that's also used later in this dialogue as well. Okay, so yes, I have one. Nahues kunya, I have. If you want to say I have one, you can go ahead and say You can say anchi if you want to say anchi. You're more than welcome to do that. Did I use that in this? Oh, that's in the last dialogue. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Okay, how much is the rent? So, let's talk about this for a second, okay? So, Tuscarora, I'm sure they have a word for how much or how many. I'm not exactly sure why the author of the dictionary never got that word, because in most Native American languages have a word for how many or how much, in my experience. Nahuatl has one, in at least that I remember. In Tuscarora, it's queja for how much or how many. But in Tuscarora is a more polysynthetic language than most. And so Tuscarora depends a lot more on its stems and its roots to create meaning than, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not, there's thousands of Native American languages, both in North and South America. I don't know them all, but so far, Tuscarora is definitely is one of the more complex ones. So what I did here to try to, because it's like, if you want to ask them how many languages do they speak or how much time is it going to take, you would have to rephrase that, what is what is it? What you could use, what or how is it going to be long, or what is it going to be long? But in this case, because we're just asking how much is the rent, we could ask what is the rent, or what is the value of the rent. That is what generally the essentially what the translation of the sentence would be. So tawante means what. It means what. So I this right here, I need that glottal stop. Okay. I that means to pay. It can also mean to value. It also means, there's something else that it means that I forgot. To cost. Okay, so how much does it cost? What does it cost and how much does it cost? Those are the same ways of asking the same question. So yeah means it costs, it is valued, or the value of it is, and it also means value, cost, and in this case, how much is it? There's 3 or 4 meanings. I always forget them all, but they're all pretty similar meanings. And ha means that. It can mean the, and it's primarily a focus marker, like Japanese, the topical marker, and Japanese and Korean, nun and wa. It's very similar to that, where you're marking the focus of the sentence. So it essentially translates as the. So taonte, taonte, you yayan, ha, yura, uracha. Okay? Uracha is literally the noun for rent. If you look it up in the Tuscarora dictionary, uracha, yeah, uracha is the word for rent. Literally. So you're asking, how much is the rent? So from $50 to $100 a week or a month, okay? So we'll go over this for a second here. I forgot to put a week or a month in here. I'll do that after this. So, San Yuharas, 50 Oken, 100 Thoro. I don't have the words for 50 and 100 in front of me right now, but I will put those in here. I haven't gotten to numbers yet, but I'm going to get to those at some point in time, just like I did for other languages I learned. So in this sentence, thus here, that's you. You can also say here as well if you want to. It's up to you. It really depends on the speaker, because some Tuscarora native speakers used s as the second person singular conjugation, and others used th. So it's really up to you. Both are used. If it's easier for you to say sa, use sa. So so the os here is like it happens. It's like a serial particle. So it's like something that's going to happen regularly, which means the rent is this amount. So I use that particle. I use that specific tense and aspect because the hotel rent's not going to change very much unless inflation goes up on whatever currency you're paying for your hotel in. It's always going to be generally the same. The same price unless somebody just jacks it up for whatever reason. Okay, so anyuhar, anyuhar or anyuhara, one of those two. I will double verify that, but I know the whole sentence means to pay. It means anyuhar means to pay. So this is saying you would pay or you pay. Oken is a particle. You cannot use it by itself. It is a bound morpheme, which means it must link to another noun. Okay? So because I don't have the words for the numbers, we're just using the English numbers for now. That's okay. A lot of Spanish indigenous languages do that. Like I know a lot of people in was it Mayan? Yeah, the Maya language. They use those numbers a lot. Okay. Oken means between. And thro, I'm not sure if this is right or not. I know it's but thro, I don't think it's nasal. I think I miswrote this. Thro means until. And in most languages, the word for until is also the word for up to, or something like that, right? Up to. So from $50 to $100 a month, okay? Yuharos, 50 oken, 100 thuro. Okay? I would like to see the room. Okay, so I would like to see the room. So, k is I, the first person singular. Anethwick, or you should say, anethwick. So anethwick means to want. It can sometimes mean need, like you have like a legitimate need for something, but it generally means like desire or want. Okay, and ka means to see. If you have been studying Tuscarora with me, depending on how closely you've been studying the language, you'll know ka from the example where we went through all of the different pronouns and the object forms. So, we were working on like, I see you, they see me, y'all see him, he sees y'all. Those types of forms where we have an agent and an object in the form, so that you can say who is involved with the sentence and what you did with something to other and how other people were involved. Okay. Ha. So this is I would like to see. Ha. The utakune room. Okay. So this is what I was saying earlier about this kanesa. Kanesa is more like a house, and utakune is a room. It can also be an apartment, and it has two other meanings according to the dictionary. I'd have to go look it up to tell you those other meanings. But if you have Blair Root's dictionary, I can give it to you if you don't have it. But if you, or I can go look up the words and give it to you if you need them. But room will work for this dialogue. Okay, and all right. So this word actually means so. I think. Not 100% sure, or all right, but wekayeri, wakun yehu. All right, I'll show it to you. Okay, so all right, okay. Wekayeri means okay generally, but all right, okay, basically the same thing, unless you're speaking. They may have separate words for these things, like Lenape has a crap ton of words for all right and so and all that. Like they got like napeta, naputa, and then you got words for nane and na and all that. But anyway, that's a different language. So wakayeri wakunyehu wakunyehu. Okay, so wakunyehu means I will show it to you. Wakanyeri. So this one, I know that's the third person singular. I know it because like wakwas, it sounds good to me. For example, it shows that because kwas is good and it is good to me. Wakwas. Okay, so this is it. Okay, the wa and this is it. It's an indefinite object. And then you got your glottal stop. This just appears everywhere. And then you got and then you have the part where it's I. Okay, so you have it and I. It in this context goes at the beginning of the word, and then you. This means you in the sentence because ehut means to show or to demonstrate. So ka. Whenever you see the "ka" here, you know I was involved, whether it was an object or not, whether you were the one that did the verb or whether it was me who was affected by the verb. Wak, so I, you, show. Okay, so ehu is show. I is you. I is you in this context. Kai means I, you, show, it. Okay, so basically I, you, show. That's how they're saying it here. All right. And if you want to use different, you can use different particles here. Like you could put like a glottal stop just to say that it happened. I'll show it to you real quick. Punctual, get it out of the way. If you want to say, there's different things you can add at the end here to say, I did it today. I did it. I will. I'm going to do it. I'm fixing to do it. I'm doing it right this second. Like there's different aspects and tenses you can add, but that information goes at the end of the verb. All right, now next one. It isn't bad if you tell me how much it is. I'll take it. Iska waksun na squat kahri ta you ya kanwi. Okay, so it isn't bad if you tell me how much it is. I'll take it. Okay. Iska means not. You can use this in front of verbs. I've seen this used in front of verbs in the dictionary, in the Tuscarora dictionary. And in Mattoon's grammar sketch as well. This is also used primarily as the main negative particle to negate verbs. So if you want to say I'm not going, I'm not doing, you will use iska. You will use iska in front of your verb every time. Waksa. So ksa means bad. It was it from earlier. So So when you see a wa at the beginning of a word, it probably means it. Also, you, and yeah, that also appears a lot, but that can also be for she or the feminine. So be careful with the you. But wa is almost always going to be an indefinite noun. So animals might use that, or that that there's going to be an object involved in the action if you see a wa at the front of it. So not is not it bad, not it bad. No means if. Squatakari means you tell me. So you me, just like from earlier. You saw the s from, if you remember s from you have, do you have the same s here? So you, I, go, and this was in the dictionary, so I'm not going to argue with the form. Now, what I can say is takahri means to say. I can tell you that for sure. Takahri, I would have to see what exactly wa is. I feel like it's not it, because it's just you tell me. It could just be, this could just be a joiner, because it could be maybe it's not skatakari yet, because takahri means to tell. So this, well, it could be a joiner. It could be epenthetic, meaning they just put that there to make it sound better, to make it easier to say. And then the ah, because takahri can mean to say. So the wu might have just been placed there as an epenthetic, because I don't know what function the wu has here. So you, me. So you to me. If you see the sk, you to me. It's you to me. Tell. And then the here. The here is, it's not serial. It's I'm not sure if it's punctual. Either way, this is just saying, if you tell me right now at this instant. Okay, the just says that it's going on at this moment. Ta by itself means how, but I'm using this as how much, right? How much it is. Yeah. Means again, how much is it? How much is the value that? And then this one, I. So unhawi means to take or to bring. Same form used here in this long word. Hawi, I take. So I take will. This glottal stop at the end. This glottal stop at the end here, which is like the and oh when you see these little question mark looking things. Those are glottal stops. That basically says, yeah, you're gonna do it right now. Like, you're doing it. It's happening. I'll take it. Like, you'll take it right now. It doesn't mean you'll take it tomorrow, or it's not a future tense. Like, Tuscarora does actually have a future tense marker used in some of the examples in Mittoon's grammar sketch. But this is not one of those. This is a happening, I'm going to take it right now type of thing. Okay, so Iska Waxen squat takari to you ya kawi. Okay, it's $60 per week. You ya. So you ya. It costs $60, and this, so the teach, if you go into Blair Rood's Tuscarora dictionary and you look up anything, like, you're not going to find, you'll find every day in Mittoon's grammar sketch, but you don't find it in the dictionary. I found a week, but I found every day and every year and possibly every month, but I didn't see every week. Every week I saw somewhere else. But basically, this teach at the front means every. It doesn't mean every in all contexts. It just means every whenever you're talking about every day, every year, every week, every month. That's what I mean. And this word, which does have a meaning, you just have to go back. You would have to go and look up this word in the Tuscarora dictionary to know what exactly it means root for root, because they break down all the words. Sorry. Nara. Nara. That means yeah. Nara. Yeah. Nara. So nara means week. So if you put teach in front of nara, then it's every week. If you want to say 1 week, which is actually in the dictionary, you would say anchi. You would say anchi net nara. But if you want to say every week, like it costs $60 every week, you'd say you $60 teach nara. And these words are kind of long, but the more you speak the language, I mean, the easier these get, really. It becomes easier to say, and it's just like it doesn't take that much time to say stuff. It's like some languages take more time to express thoughts than others. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you have patience, and you're not going to get flustered or mad easily because you're not speaking it that fast. You're going to be okay. You just got to have patience with this stuff. Because I know even for me, it's not always a piece of cake. Anyway, so have them bring my things for me. So this one I was proud of because I actually had to create. The one took me like 20 minutes to do because I had to look up. I had to think really hard about this. So let me explain my logic here. So have them bring my things for me. Okay, have them bring my things for me. This requires two different things. It requires a causative and it requires a dative. Why do I say that? Well, the verb bring is only going to take you so far. All right, you have unhawi. Okay, unhawi means to bring or to take, as I mentioned earlier in this lesson. So, and you also have a group of them, a group of 3 or more people. This could have been dual if you know there's 2 people. If you don't know there's 2 people, might as well just use the 3 or more because at least you know it's plural and you're not going to hurt anybody's feelings if you mention more than 3 people. You just didn't know there were only 2 or less. Because if you have 2 people, then you have inclusive or exclusive, and that's a whole other thing that a lot of Native American languages do. Especially in the Iroquois language family, because I know Cherokee has inclusive and exclusive stuff. Lenape kind of sort of does, but they don't. It's not as common as it is in like Iroquois languages. In Tuscarora, they've got a whole different story, but they have inclusive and exclusive first, and I'm pretty sure second person plural forms for verbs, pronouns. So, Ahawi is to take or to bring. Okay, Ka means that they are doing something. You is the object form. Ka is, of course, I. So, they, it, or they, them, they, some type of what's the word? Indefinite object. Plus I, plus you're going to take or bring something, in this case bring. And here, so causative goes right after the verb, okay? Because the causative is hua. The hua allows you to say have them bring instead of just bring, okay? The hua allows you to say because you need them to bring your things to you. So hua allows you to say, I'm gonna take unhawi. Unhawi is to take or to bring, right? Let them bring. You need to. Someone needs to be. Whoever you're talking to has to cause other people to bring those to you. They have to make them bring those things to you. So that means you have to cause it to happen, which means you use the causative particle. So unhawi is the bringer to take. Unhawi hua means to have them bring or have them take, or to make someone bring or make someone take, or you were made to take, and then you would use the passive after that. I don't know how passives go in this language, but if you were forced to do something, you would also use the causative there. And then after that, because you're having to bring the things for you, it could also be bringing your things to you. Same, the dative. You have to use this thing called the dative. The dative in Tuscarora is it's very complex. It takes 9 or 12 different forms depending on whether it's an imperative, a punctual. It depends on the aspect of the verb. So whether you're giving a command to someone, or whether this bringing of things is happening now, tomorrow, in a little bit, it just depends on when it's happening. But there's four different verb aspects where this can change forms. So because this is an imperative, you're telling them to bring those things for you because you don't want to bring those things. You're buying a hotel room. Someone else should bring those things for you. So you would have to, because it's an imperative, most of those suffixes are similar. Like most of them have th. Some of them are off. Some of them don't have a ah. Some of them don't have a huh. But in this case, because it's an imperative command, it's a command that you're telling people to bring those things to you, you use off. So they, it, I, bring, made them bring, right? Have them bring to. So this is a to me. That allows you to say to me. So it's a little complicated, but that is how you would construct that in Tuscarora. And you don't have to put anything for the imperative. Again, the imperative is basically you don't add anything else at the end. So that's a command. Have them bring to me my things. So I don't know if this is actually okay. Awanta is a standalone noun, which means thing. I don't know if it's possible, but agglutinative languages are pretty free whenever it comes to chaining on suffixes and stuff, so I assume I can do this. So my thing. So kawante, my thing. And this is the S. Hun. So hun is a Tuscarora stem or root. It means much or many, literally speaking. But what sets this root that means many or much, because Tuscarora, as I talked about in a video, there's aha, there's hana, there's atha, there's thre, tia, anthra, kaana, hra. There's all kinds of different. There's many different suffixes for many or much. They're all distributive, but sometimes they mean several. Some of them mean several. Some of them mean it's just like spread out throughout time or space. One is using the word for days. Some of them function as just literally many or much, or how much is it type of thing. But this one what sets this apart from the others is that this frequently acts as a plural marker. So I'm like, well, I went to means thing. So I went to hotnet. Yeah, hotnet must mean things, right? So I just did that here. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. What's important is that we're using this language and we're using it as quickly as possible. There's not a lot of grammar, there's not a lot of text examples, but Hana. Hana is used frequently as the plural marker. Okay, so kayu kahan we hoth kawen to hotnet. And where is the dining room? Tisnet, that means and. It's by itself. Where? So this one's made up of oo, and this. Those are you. Whenever you take a stem and you turn it into a noun in Tuscarora, you have to generally add a o or a or a oo, and then you put a glottal stop at the end, which basically nominalizes it, and it turns that noun. It allows that noun to be said by itself. So that's what we said here. There's no room for dining room. But the only word in the Tuscarora language that's used for dining or anything like that is used in the word for the Last Supper, which is a religious term. I couldn't even find the word dinner in there. So I mean, you can find meal and food and stuff like that, but if you want to look for the dinner, quahera is used in the verb for dinner, and it doesn't mean last; it means dinner, as used in some other religious term. So, quahera, for all intents and purposes, means to eat dinner. So, quahera, and then nosant. Nosant is an interesting suffix because nosant, it can mean room, yes, just like utakwade, or just like using kanasa can be, kanasa is a house or a room, and utakwane is an apartment or a room or a floor, generally. But you can also use a different word. Nosant. Nosant is, if you've ever heard of an ohana, like in Hawaiian culture, it's kind of like a detached house. You can also use this for a room. Like, if you build a house and it's got this room, it's got this, it's your house and it's an attached room. Dining room is just a room that's attached to your house. Like, you got bedrooms and living rooms and stuff like that. Nosant can be a separate house that's part of your property. But nosant can also be a detached part of your property, or something that you added on later. So because a dining room is not a regular room, it's a extra portion of your room, but it can also still mean room. I decided to use that root for this. So uquahera nasat. Okay. So tisna owe uquahera nasat. Where is the dining room? And the last room here, it's on the first floor. So F means to be located in. Os is that same. This is the same particle used earlier that I was using for asking about the rent and saying how much you'd be paying. Senyuhara, senyuharos, because this is what you generally pay. It's generally on the first floor, unless the hotel decides to tear up the dining room and move it to a different floor. This is the floor it's going to be on. So you et fas chiare you taquinut. Okay. So you. This is as I mentioned earlier, it's an indefinite third person singular verb. So you use that in front of this. Translation, or in front of this verb and stem here, and it means it is on, and then this will tell you that it's generally there. So it's not going to change tomorrow. It's on the first floor. That's the way it is. Tiara, and there's also another word for first. Ikanchi. I'm not sure how that differs from tiara. I didn't look it up in the Tuscarora side of Rude's dictionary, but it means first, so we can use that here. There's also another root that Tuscarora has for the like third, fourth, fifth, sixth, like ordinal numbers. You can that's ha nut. So, huntnut. So, huntnut can be used for that, but you wouldn't use that for first because first has its own standalone word. Tiare. Okay. So, tiare. And then, utaquanut. Okay. So, ke is on, at, or in. So, on that floor. On the first what floor? So, you're probably thinking, oh, this has taquanut. This is taquanut. Isn't this the word? Isn't this the same root that's in the word up there? Yes. You're absolutely correct. If that's what you're thinking, I'd like to see the root. Ka'anethquek. Utaquanet. So utaquanet has that same root. And taquanet, the form of that verb is taquanet. Taquanet means a room, apartment, or a floor. Utaquanet is the proper noun form in the dictionary. Like, if you look this up in the Tuscarora dictionary, this is what will come up. If you look up a floor, like a story, this is a story, not a floor. Obviously, second floor is a synonym of story, but this means story as in second story, third story, fourth story, like a multi-story building, a house with multiple layers. So, utaquanet, utaquanet is the floor. So, it's on the first floor. Okay? So that should make a lot of sense. I've been using my nasal sound, so now my nose is all from from having to make all these nasal sounds because this is a very nasal language. So it requires a lot. Anytime you see that ogonek, you see those tails coming out of the vowels. And this also shows up in some dialects of Tuscarora for as well. But yeah, that was the dialogue for actually ordering the hotel room. The next one I'm going to be doing is about meeting a Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I don't know how to translate that in Tuscarora, but I'll probably just change it and, use like government or minister, whatever. I'm going to figure it out because I always figure it out. But thank you all for watching this. If you've gotten to this point, holy crap, thank you. And keep following my journey to learn Tuscarora. Hopefully, if you are Tuscarora, keep studying because it doesn't matter if it's now, 10, 20 years from now. I will always want indigenous people to pick up their languages. And I may not be indigenous myself, but I immensely enjoy studying these languages and picking them up, and I enjoy the grammar. And I'm also here for tutoring, so if anybody needs this type of coaching and you need somebody to help, plan your lessons out, plan your implementations for whether you're an individual trying to pick up your native, maybe your parents spoke Spanish and you didn't know, or maybe your grandma spoke Cherokee and you have no idea where to start or how to learn the system. That's what I'm here for. LangShack exists for that reason. I'm here to help people reclaim their languages, no matter what language it is, find the grammar, find the information, piece it together, and help you learn whatever is out there for it, so that you can speak your languages again. Okay, we are here for you. We're here to help you claim it for affordable rates that most people can pay. These services this is something I really love to do. I want to help as many people as I can, but at the same time, I also do want to do this as my full-time job because I really do enjoy this type of stuff, and this is all I'm doing right now. So if you have any questions, or if you're interested in this type of language coaching for just like I said yourself, it could be an informal group of people. I can offer this stuff as low as like 10 to 12 an hour. If you really want to learn this type of stuff, and you're dedicated, you're here, and you've got the budget, like I can make any budget work for you. So thank you all for watching, and hope to catch you all in the next video.